you.
Alright, this is the Wildman, JD Hartzell. I'm here with Mr. Clyde Peeling of Reptiland. Now, Clyde, it's been a while since I talked to you and stuff like that, but I have one question that was right on top of my head. What actually is your favorite reptile?
Oh, I often say it's kind of like asking me what's my favorite kid, you know. I really like all reptiles. I guess I tend to really be fascinated by cobras and the big bluff, you know, and the spreading of the hood. And they're quite beautiful, many of them. But there are many beautiful vipers, and I don't know that I have a favorite.
I don't know, I always went towards actually turtles more because I think turtles were my first thing that I came in contact with was actually a painted turtle, so each a painted turtle. And then wood turtles have always been kind of special that I used to find, but I don't see them as much as I used to see them. So
We've had a number of wood turtles hatch in the last couple of years, and we had hoped we could use them to repatriate the wild populations. However, the Fish and Boat Commission controls reptiles and amphibians, and they came and took blood samples to make sure, or to hopefully tell us what population the parents came from. So if it turns out, you know, mother was from this population, father was from this one, we may not be able to release them.
yeah, I have seen that in different stuff because when I was doing the research for them, they were more interested in the animals that were right in that area.
Yeah.
They wanted to actually map it out and see where they were at. So
I don't know. I mean, turtles certainly move about, and I suppose there's some validity to that if they're spread 100 miles apart. But if we found wood turtles in Penn's Creek and we found wood turtles, you know, in this area, we're not that great a distance, and I find it hard to believe that you would negatively impact the genetics of either population, but I'm not a geneticist.
yeah, I actually seen with some of the studies that male wood turtles actually move quite a bit. They move like 5-6 miles usually back and forth.
I wouldn't be at all surprised, yeah. And box turtles, same way.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of box turtles. And there's one area actually by my parents' house where I actually didn't think they were, never thought they were there, but that's where I found most of them.
I live about a mile and a half north of Reptiland, and I found the most beautiful box turtle I'd ever seen in my life right on our driveway about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. Just a gorgeous animal and impeccable, not any injuries. You know, most of them show some injury, maybe they got sideswiped by a car or something, but this one was perfect. But I let him go.
I know, I think I actually have pictures of different box turtles and I kind of like put them all in one frame, so I looked at the different colors, like they're just so different.
Yeah.
That's what I like about a lot of the reptiles and stuff that, there's a lot of them that have variation like that it's pretty neat to see that.
Apparently there's nothing selecting for one particular pattern. There's a lot of variation in box turtles.
It's like some of the king snakes too that, I see so many different things, but they're like locales, like the California king, then you have the Florida king, then you have the ones in between. But even like the venomous stuff, some of them, well, they don't really vary that much, but I mean, like the timber rattlesnake, they vary.
It's certainly a polymorphic species. One of our employees just showed me a picture of a pretty much a dark phase timber that she encountered the other day, but some of them are just gorgeous.
Oh,
either solid black, almost like velvet, or a lot of yellow in some of them, you know, and
I saw an absolute beautiful one up in my parents' house. We were sitting there for a picnic and stuff, and this catbird was making all this noise and stuff. And we're looking around, and we looked over in the driveway, and there's a very big, like probably 5 feet timber house, like yellow paste, but that thing was beautiful.
About maybe 7, 8 years ago, somebody from Pennsylvania DCNR led a friend of mine and I to a birthing rock up in the northwestern corner of Lycoming County, and there were 28 gravid females in and around that rock. It was just amazing. You stand there and they're moving around right under you, you know, and it was really a good situation.
That is neat. I have never seen that. I have a guy that he lives in Lycoming County, and you can go out there, and somebody I know went with him, and there was 32 timber rattlesnakes, and it just on his land.
Yeah.
But he was saying that he don't let nobody really go into that area because he goes, I don't want nobody hunting here, and I don't.
Right. Well, we've never shown anybody this rock. I mean, the more people that know about it, the greater the risk. Somebody with a shotgun is going to go up and blast away. But I think people are getting a little more appreciative of reptiles than they were certainly when I began in business almost 60 years ago.
Yeah. There was a lot of people that, oh, we like snakes. I mean, even when I was a kid and then started like reptiles and stuff. No, I like snakes, and they and I mean, I came from a family that didn't like them at all. So I mean, it was kind of weird being a kid that liked them. You know, I felt kind of outcast, like you know. But I think we both felt like that.
Yeah, I certainly looked at as somebody outside the norm. You know, where I grew up, I was the only kid that I knew between here and Philadelphia that liked reptiles.
Yeah, it was very different, like growing up, and now it's like I have so many people and stuff. Like I have people, I've bred a lot of bearded dragons this year, so people at work and stuff, they're like, oh, I want bearded dragons, so I've been selling them and giving them away to different people and stuff. But I'm just like, it's neat to see that. Well, it's kind of a dangerous thing too because you get so many people into it that, you know, it kind of causes problems sometimes. But
I hear people say, I hate snakes. I don't think they mean they hate them. I think they mean they're scared of them.
I have a funny story too. One of my family members, there was a little, I mean, it was a little ringneck snake. I picked it up with my fingers. I go, well, you want to see it? And they're so afraid of snakes that they don't even want to touch it or anything. I said, it is not going to hurt you. I said, most of them don't even want to bite you. So, I mean, I said, you know, your fear is not, you know, you should be more fearful of ticks and stuff like that. I'm fearful of ticks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, with good reason.
Yeah, I have more than enough of them. but I was gonna ask you too about the zoo. You've been doing pretty good with business and stuff since.
Yeah, we've had a good year. Not a record breaker, but better than last year for sure. And I think it might be the second best year we ever had. That's what I'm seeing so far, and you never know. You know, we're dealing with this inflation right now, and so consequently, you're constantly wondering if are my rates high enough to cover the inflation? But it's part of doing business.
Yeah, well, I said actually at work yesterday. I said that I'm coming here to do an interview and stuff like that, and the kid looked at me. He was just getting into reptiles too. And it was like, yeah, you need to go to Clyde Peeling, Reptiland, and you know you need to check it out. His son's getting into reptiles. And I said, you know, that's a place that you want to go, especially when the kids. I said, especially when kids are interested. So I kind of went on the backstory about me when I came here when I was a kid and stuff. I said felt like normal that there's somebody else out there that likes these animals.
Now you're making me feel old.
But I don't want to make you. I don't want to make you feel old. Well, I'm not a little spring chicken anymore. I just turned 51, so.
Yeah, I got about 30 years on you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how, like, the different. I kind of went away from kind of the mainstream reptile people, and I want to focus on the people that are just coming up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you have a lot of advice with that you could share, like your stories about how you started out.
Yeah, well, it was a different time. I couldn't possibly begin with using the same methods that I started in business 60 years ago with. I mean, I just there's so many more regulations to deal with, and reptiles are much more difficult to obtain in some cases, or more expensive. I mean, we started out really with a board fence and a sun shelter over a row of cages, and just grew from there.
Well, that's the thing too. Some people don't have the passion to keep growing and stuff, but you have had the passion. And
I think tenacity is pretty important.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people probably have tried to go into this business thinking, oh man, just having a bunch of reptiles and people are going to flood in. No, it's about marketing. It's having the tenacity to stay with it during the tough years. And we had some really tough years in the early days, but now we've been here long enough that I think people know where we are, and I hear people telling me all the time they like the place. So,
well, I mean, the people that I talk to that never heard of it, I'm always going.
Yeah.
You need to go. You need to check it out. I said it's a place that you need to go. So I said I said you'll like it there, and I always say about the Komodo dragon because I love the Komodo.
We're just about ready to send our mail to Turtleback Zoo in New Jersey, and we're getting another mail from Miami Zoo because we've had no success with our current female, and our current male with reproduction. So we're just trying to find an animal that's compatible with her.
Yeah, I have found that just with the smaller species of the brand, and they're very because I had the water monitors, and they're very touchy. And the females actually can be the more aggressive one, more than
absolutely.
the males. Yeah,
that's true for our original females at Bronx Zoo now, and the female we have Bronx brought to us. And I'm trying to think where that animal originated. But anyway, you know, there's some geneticists at Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago, and they look at the genetics of these animals and give you recommendations where to put your animal. So it's kind of a dating service.
Yeah.
You know? So the head of the Komodo Species Survival Plan recommended that we send our male, the current male, over to Turtleback and get the male from Miami.
No, that's interesting though, because I like it that the zoos are working. They work pretty hard. I mean, pretty hard at making the animals.
Yeah, it's hard to know with some animals how important having unrelated animals really is. And what I mean is, we all know that Komodo dragons can be parthenogenic. And these islands are not big islands.
No.
I've been there. And the largest of the islands where Komodos are found is the island of Komodo. And there's got to be a lot of inbreeding going on. So we originally got a male and a female hatchling from LA Zoo, And when they reached sexual maturity, she laid 17 eggs, and the Species Survival Plan Committee recommended we destroy the eggs, which was a heartbreak.
Yeah.
But we complied. I get it. You want to try to keep the the genetics as diverse as possible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I said that's the part that my part of genetics with stuff now. It's a breed of dragons that there's morphs now. So not just like albinos, there's like zeros, there's all pure white ones, there's all different ones. So I'm kind of like getting into that a little bit, and to me that's kind of funny because one part of me likes it, and another part don't, because I want to keep the animal normal.
Yeah.
But that's
what I've always hoped for hasn't happened yet, but I understand private breeders, you need to sell the progeny to sustain your hobby or your business, whatever the case may be. But I always hope that we could convince private breeders to keep a selected number of animals as part of a species survival plan, and although they could use them to introduce the original genes back into their colonies, they would be part of a species survival plan, and if you had a lot of breeders doing that, then you'd have much larger populations and less chance of inbreeding or depression, which sometimes will lead to extinction.
I know of one big breeder of frogs, Josh's frogs, that he actually does. He does that. He has like different frogs that come from different areas, so he keeps them just what they are.
Yeah.
And I know he had something going on with the different places in South America where they have like not farms, but the research places down there. And I think he actually had a whole bunch from a population that he sent down there, and they put them out in the wild again. But with the citrus fungus, still, it's hard to even do stuff with that.
I've not been to his place.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard good things about that, and we buy from them. Not so much frogs, but supplies and things.
I did have a buddy. I told him I was coming up here, Tony McDonald. So I was like, I'm gonna go see Mr. Peeling and stuff. He goes, tell him I said hi.
Okay.
Yeah, he's told Tom because he's still kind of a guy that supports me a lot. So he's like, if he needs anything, let me know, and I'll send him more stuff. But he's always been like that. Yeah. But when I say your name, because I know Clyde pretty good because I met him a couple times. I go, yeah. But yeah, I always like coming here though. So I always like talking to you. It feels like we have a thing now that even though the Oktoberfest, I would like to do.
Yeah, we're doing that again. We're doing Winos and Dinos, which is coming up in August, and then October we have Croctoberfest, and the events are kind of a big deal here.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. I have seen that. It is a big deal. My wife would be more interested in the winos and dinos because she's a wine drinker. So that's
me too.
I stay with the beer most of the time. But it was a very cool experience being here when we were here. So but I always like being there. Yeah, now I'll ask the camera person, you have any questions over there?
No.
She's quiet. I was like that too, but yeah, I want to thank you again for letting
Sure.
us talk.
Oh, my pleasure.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I do though.
Okay.
Yeah, keep in touch that we do stuff, and anybody that wants to come to Reptiland, you need to check it out. And you'll love it. So that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.